This is the personal statement that got me into LSE for economics, and luckily for you, this is in the correct format, as in I initially talk about what sparked my interest, then relate it back to my studies and how they have prepared me, then I go on to talk about my extracurriculars. It is by no means perfect, and there are things I wish I could change, but if you want to use this for inspiration, certainly save it for later. I'm also going to do this on 2 times speed because I know you've already got your finger right here. My initial perception of economics was that it was a niche abstract field of study. However, my interest in the subject was piqued when COVID lockdowns began to be implemented worldwide. Throughout my studies, I have slowly unwrapped the mysticism of economics, and now understand how integral it is to modern society. It can be the difference between poverty and prosperity. Well, obviously, I wish I had been more specific there and not just talking about how economics is important. What in economics is important? I recognise how EU countries with large fiscal deficits heading into the pandemic were restricted in furlough scheme options compared to stronger European economies. Policy ideas such as collectivised debt could create very wealth distribution in some Europe. I was fascinated as to why certain member states were so reluctant to this approach. This became clear in my Sutton Trust Cambridge Economics School in my introduction to the Euro assignment. It was fascinating to see how Germany had an advantage due to its huge trade surplus, whereas Greece had an unstable economy relying heavily on tourism for stimulation. This demonstrated to me why some countries were more sceptical of a more federal EU, motivated me to read Talk about the Economy, where Varoufakis described banking as black magic, stating that Greek debt should be written off. This book sparked my interest in the international financial sector and gave me a broad understanding of economic history, allowing me to see the European debt crisis through a Greek perspective. I like that bit. I like how I tied it in and why I said, well, this interests me, so I read this book. You see how it flows naturally from my natural interest. One thing that I will say is that this statement is kind of all over the place. I've been talking about a lot of different things. You don't need to do that, and I kind of wish I'd honed in on one specific theme. The Cambridge School showed me what reading economics at university could entail. We had lectures containing an intriguing mixture of micro and macroeconomic concepts going beyond the A-level curriculum. We covered some first-year micro topics such as the Cobb-Douglas productive function and the use of Isaac quants in economics, where I saw a similarity to the PPF from A-level. This is just a little tip. Try and relate your interest back to the things that you will do in the course that you are applying to. So, of course, we cover Isaac costs and Isaac quants in like first-year econ. This demonstrates to me the importance of mathematics and manipulating economic objects to more accurately model firm production. Fern cuts off here. I wish I hadn't done this, but our generation has lived through the ramifications of laissez-faire economic policies. Sorry, I'm actually shocked as to what I wrote. Our generation has lived through the ramifications of laissez-faire economics, such as the ideologies manifested by Thatcherite policies like the Big Bang deregulation of financial markets. After some research I decided to my EPQ on the 2008 financial crash, I saw the issues facing 2008 were potentially exacerbated by deregulation. You don't say. I explored how the implementation of right-wing policy could have led to the catastrophic financial crash. Could have. To better understand neoliberalism, just in general, I read Road to Serfdom by Hayek. He argued that government planning destroys individuality, results in totalitarian control. I believe his status as a prominent 20th century thinker provides the ideology behind many policies adopted by neoliberal governments in the late 1900s. Although deregulation may have been motivated by libertarian arguments such as Hayek's, it neglects issues of moral hazard in that financial markets are incapable of self-regulation. This is a theme in my EPQ showing the conflict between banking stability and the rewards culture. I decided to do work experience in my local chambers of commerce to gain experience working in the financial sector, using analytical skills developed at A-level to consider links between business performance and consumer confidence. And then all of a sudden we're going back to the start of that paragraph. I think the biggest report outlining policies to tackle moral hazard will be revolutionary in stabilising the UK financial services industry by ring-fencing investment banks, but it's too early to tell due to ambiguity in finance. What do you mean ambiguity in finance? That is a really, really poor, weak sentence. This intervention questions whether neoliberal ideology is still at the core of 21st century economic policy. To best develop critical thinking skills, I entered economics essay competitions, including the SEO and the RES 2021. I love to create my arguments and think analytically. Just a waste of characters. To support my entries, I read on economics, where our word suggests that the economy should be modelled by donut to achieve satisfactory human welfare, but not exceed an ecological ceiling. This supports my answers on UK inequality and climate change, inspiring me to do an HG Blood project on uncertainty in NGOs. As you can see, my personal statement actually wasn't that good. Some parts were, some parts weren't. Use it for inspiration.